Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Marco Dure Show, everybody. It is Monday, August 18th. Thanks for being here to get all the groundbreaking news across the United States, across the world, where the facts are facts and hard truths always thrive. Please make sure you hit that like button and follow along to the show. I do appreciate when you do that. Be sure to share the show with others to help spread the truth. Folks, we got to do this. We got to work as one here. That way we can always get the real facts and real data out there. But I thank you all for doing that. I appreciate it so much. And let's get ready now for the best hour that radio has to offer, uncensored and ready to go. I want to start off talking today about the foreign affairs that have ensued over the last couple days with particularly President Trump and President Putin. And I just want to start off by saying how pleased I am to see that these peace talks have resulted from their meeting in Alaska on Friday. Really, really good news. I was very, very happy to see all this take place. It really could have gone south very quickly. But instead, we finally see that there is some diplomacy happening between the two nations. Something that never happened between the Biden regime and, of course, Moscow. So I was very happy as the result of this came out. We see that now Trump is moving away from the ceasefire talks that he was discussing prior to the meeting. You all know that he was saying, in 2 minutes I'll know if this is going to be good or bad. It turned out to be something very positive. And we should all be very, very happy about this. And I think moving forward, I think that Donald Trump is going to really have positive relations now with Moscow moving forward. I do believe that is something that is going to be something in the future that happens as a result of all this. Hopefully that this war ends very, very quickly. We've got to understand a couple things, though. While the talks were good and the relations were good and the idea of peace was on the table and they both agreed that peace should be the end result. Not a ceasefire, of course, which we know what that means. A ceasefire happens one day, the next day they're firing at each other. It's meaningless. And, of course, it allows the enemy of each to rearm. We don't want them. We want this to end right away, as soon as possible. Now, Paul Craig Roberts also discussed two barriers that must be recognized and overcome by Donald Trump. And this is important. This has to happen. One, of course, the neoconservative doctrine, the Wolfowitz doctrine, if we're talking specifics, of American hegemony. That's the U.S. involvement everywhere in the world. And, of course, the other interest is the United States military security complex. That'd be the production of more arms going to nations all across the world. And of course, us spending billions upon billions of dollars on that each year. More bombs, more of this nonsense going on creates more of these wars, right? That's what we're seeing right now. Now, the doctrine of hegemony obviously requires overcoming Russia, the bad guy that everyone keeps talking about. I was watching the news all today. Russia, Putin, dictator, that it's just on repeat, nonstop. I think Donald Trump saw Vladimir Putin in a different light on Friday. I really do believe that. I think Donald Trump wants to do business with Russia. I think you're going to start seeing, again, these tariffs start to fall off, especially of these BRICS nations as well. But I think that Vladimir Putin, of course, is the one holding all the cards right now. Most people aren't talking about that. They're like, oh, Putin was happy to get to the table for peace. Yeah, because he wanted this over with as well. But if we're arming Ukraine left and right, and they keep firing missiles into Moscow, the war is going to continue on. And we've seen that, especially in the last couple of months, the dominance on the battlefield that we're seeing right now. Controlling these four main oblasts with no deterrence in sight from Ukraine. There's about estimated number of 1.8 million dead Ukrainians, folks. This is not good. We don't want this. And Donald Trump echoed these same sentiments just today. He wants the bloodshed to stop. He wants it to stop, and I want it to stop, and you want it to stop, so let's stop it, right? So we've got to talk about unilateralism. The United States' ability to cooperate with other nations. We've got to stop with the bullying around. This all comes from the doctrine of hegemony, as Paul Craig Roberts writes. And he says, is this doctrine too institutionalized to be repudiated? In other words, to stop this. Right? We have the budget, the influence over Congress. We have the power of the military-industrial complex, which President Eisenhower warned us about in his farewell address. And, of course, we have to have a boogeyman. That'd be Russia. That'd be China. That'd be Iran, right? We've got to arm up against these guys. They're going to come and get us if not. So Russia fills that role. We need peace on equal terms with Russia, which takes away, obviously, the enemy. And the budget and influence of the military security complex begins to decline. Well, the powers that be don't want that. They don't want that. And that's why you keep hearing things like, well, we need to have these security, security, the word is guarantees. What the hell is a security guarantee? What does this mean? We're going to be present in Ukraine to stave off any type of invasion from Russia? And I understand the idea what they're talking about. They're saying, well, we don't want to create a peace accord. Everyone leaves the region. 2 years later, Vladimir Putin's back in invading. I understand all that. But this is why you're coming to peace terms. You are agreeing to the terms that Russia has laid out. That has clearly won this conflict. That's what I'm saying right now. This is why I'm saying Putin is holding all the cards right now. There's talks of land swaps and what have you. I don't understand how that would work either. He's not giving up Crimea. He's certainly not going to give up the Luhansk and Donetsk oblasts at all. These areas are very rich in rare earth minerals, which obviously we have a great interest in. Donald Trump signed a pact in order to extract them and use them in kind of this quid pro quo for the massive amount of money that we've sent over there, the tune of over $300 billion just in the last 3 years. So we have military bases or weapons manufacturers in almost every state in this country, folks. I mean, it's a machine. This is what keeps the Fed printing out more money. And of course, this interest is also institutionalized. And which, again, we're in these forever wars. We've got to stop this. I think Donald Trump, if he wants to, can stop this. It's going to be difficult, but I believe he can stop this. And that would be a good thing. So, he met with NATO today, the EU, pretty much. And again, how likely is it that Donald Trump can get NATO and missile bases off the Russian border? That is the key right now. And Paul Craig Roberts is right to suggest this. This is the key. Putin wants a demilitarized Ukraine. He doesn't want to go into the rest of Europe. He doesn't want to go to Poland or Romania or Moldova, Belarus, you name it. He doesn't want to go there. That's not in his interest. He wants the Russian ethnic populations that have been under the attack and being shelled by the Azov battalion for several years to end. He wants control of these regions. And again, he's not going to give up Crimea because that's where the Russian fleet is stationed. Not going to happen. He's not giving up those areas. So again, there's big talks of land swaps. Maybe he'll give up parts of the Zaporizhia Oblast and the Kherson Oblast or Kharkiv, whatever you want to call it. But again, Putin is the one holding the cards. He is the one that's going to make the final agreement. And that's, again, why President Trump set up this meeting between Zelensky and Putin. They are the two that need to meet. They are the two that need to come to terms. Now, they've already done this in the past, in April of 2022, and I've been telling you this time and time again. I'll tell you again because this is the fact, and people are starting to finally admit this. There was actually a peace negotiation in the works in Istanbul that was scrapped by Boris Johnson, then Prime Minister of the UK, and the wonderful lunch bucket Joe Biden to keep this work. This is what I'm saying. You have the military security complex keeping this war machine going. Oh, we're not fighting war. We're just giving, Ukraine arms, billions of dollars. Then, of course, we find out that the arms we're sending them are on the black market. They're selling them. I mean, it's a complete mess. But make no mistake, you are paying for this. You're paying for this, always. So, what is the future of NATO? I have no idea, but Ukraine cannot join NATO. And I highly doubt Vladimir Putin is going to say, you know what, we'll let you have a presence under, I believe it's Article 5 of the NATO Charter. We'll have presence in Ukraine. What the hell's the difference? They might as well join NATO if that's the fact. You're gonna have all these nations put arms and possibly even troops on the ground to prevent an invasion, and you don't think Vladimir Putin's going to accept that? Why would he accept that? That's even worse than what's going on. Because now you have all these troops from the EU and America on the ground. It's just simply not going to work out that way, folks. That's, I think, wishful thinking. That's, I guess, their idea to nullify this threat of course, Russia taking over the rest of Europe, which, again, is stupid in and of itself. That was never the case. That was never what he wanted. And again, it's ridiculous to think about. He doesn't want NATO on his doorstep. That's the whole problem with this whole thing. And Zelensky kept saying, no, we want to join NATO. No peace terms. We want these oblasts back. We want war reparations. He's not going to go for that. So what happened over the weekend? The idea, again, of sanctioning, of tariffs against India, other BRICS nations, backfired on Donald Trump. What's going to happen? I pray to God this is how this turns out. I think the hot war that we could have possibly been in as a result of this is going to go away. But I think what you're going to see is Donald Trump is going to do business with Russia. He's going to stop these sanctions. And he's going to open up trade with Russia. Because Donald Trump wants to be a part of this. He understands this, okay? I mean, say what you will about Donald Trump, but he understands that these BRICS nations make up almost half of the global GDP. That is a lot of business right there. We make up about 23% of that. We're a big force, no doubt about it. But Donald Trump also wants to be a part of this. He wants to do business with Russia, China, India, South Africa, Brazil. They want to do this. It's good for business, and Donald Trump understands this. So we want peace. We want to overcome this conflict, this war. And it's going to have to be on Putin's terms. That's all I'll tell you today. Now, following up the Friday meeting, again, there was a meeting today where the EU nations came together. I'm reading out a Breitbart right now. Trump calls Putin during talks with Europeans, makes plan for Zelensky and Putin peace meeting, predicts deal within weeks. This is fantastic. This is what I've been waiting for. I mean, who could not applaud this? This is good. Right now, this is good. As I said, that United States President Donald Trump confirms a report that he called Russian President Vladimir Putin during his meeting with European leaders and said that a sit-down between Putin and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to end this war is being arranged. So he's brokering this peace deal now. He's getting the EU, these NATO nations, involved in this to say, hey, stop sending these arms. The more arms you send, the more this is going to continue on. If NATO arms are going to keep being brought to Ukraine, that poses a threat to Russia. And then you're not going to see any peace. You're going to see more bloodshed. You're going to see more disaster. And he got them on the right page here. And again, two very successful, very important meetings Donald Trump put into place, and we're finally getting good results. He concluded on Truth Social. He said that at the conclusion of the meetings, I called President Putin and began the arrangements for a meeting at a location to be determined between President Putin and Zelensky. After that meeting takes place, we will have a trilateral which will be between the two presidents plus myself. I mean, that I like it. I like it. This is good. This is an end of this war, an end of this endless spending, right? The Fed printing out money, sending it abroad. It's finally coming to an end. So, if this happens, Donald Trump's doing the right thing here. I've got to tell you. This is something extremely positive. Hopefully these tariffs start coming off of China, again, of other certain nations that have, we are threatening, like India as well. And I hope that there will be peace throughout Europe. That's what we can only want, right? So good on Donald Trump. I'm very happy to see this. Is very positive weekend. And of course, the meetings that took place today with the European leaders. Fantastic. Now, we've got to talk about the reality, though. This is important. The reality of the Trump tariffs that have been, again, putting a little bit of a stranglehold on certain items that you find at the grocery store. The Hill states that President Trump's tariffs could raise the cost of some of the most popular imports in American grocery aisles, from coffee and olive oil to wine, matcha, and spices. After the liberation tariffs kicked in worldwide in early August, businesses and consumers alike are watching closely for when and how much these prices begin to tick up. So a lot of people have been saying, you know what, these tariffs are in effect right now. We're not seeing this big jump in prices. We're seeing an inflation fairly stable between 2.7%, not the 25 to 30% that we saw under the Biden regime. And again, they're saying all is well. Now, the inflation data released on Tuesday did not show an overall increase, of course, of these food prices. But economists say that it's likely to change as businesses pass more cost on to the consumers. This is what I've been talking to you about. Everyone's championing, hey, tariff, 25%. We're taking in billions of dollars of tariffs. Well, folks, who pays for those tariffs? It's you. Anytime you hear the word tariff, I want you to think of a tax. Economics 101. Tariff, tax. Who pays for the tax? You pay for the tax, unless you're blessed to have a company that's going to eat up the cost. And again, you're seeing a lot of these businesses have done that for a long time. But at some point, they've got to make more of a profit. Again, grocery stores rarely see a massive profit index from when they sell food. They only make 1%, 2%, 3%, usually tops. So wholesale prices surged 0.9% just last month, almost a percentage. The biggest monthly jump since June of 2022. We all know what happened then. And a sign that inflation may not be cooling just yet. I've been telling you this for the longest time. At some point, this has to happen. The companies that are, again, importing could care less. They don't care. Yes, they pay the U.S. Treasury to, again, send the imports in here. But someone's got to make up that difference that they're paying more for. Whether it be 25, 30, 100, 125, whatever Donald Trump comes up with that day, there's going to be a difference in that price. There has to be. Otherwise, you go broke. Now, many of us anticipated ahead of time that you might see some faster movements in grocery stores, partly because you can't stockpile stuff in the right way. You can't stockpile a whole year's worth of avocados, for example. Now, that being said, the price increases we've seen so far are pretty muted. So we'll just have to see what happens, is what Martha Gimbel of the Budget Lab at Yale has stated. Well, again, coffee, you're seeing a 50% tariff. So if you have, you're paying $1 for coffee, right? From Brazil, right? You like that Brazilian coffee. Okay, good for you. Fantastic. Now you're paying $1.50 for it. That's going to be a lot. If you're paying $10, you're paying now $15 for it. It adds up over time, folks. It adds up over time. And again, you're seeing this olive oil prices. I love cooking with olive oil. It's not a seed oil. I always tell you, don't cook with seed oils. Even though it's cheaper, it's not healthy for you. Awful for the body, awful for the brain, awful for inflammation in the body. Stay away from it. Yes. So olive oil, Good choice, right? Cold-pressed organic olive oil is the best thing you can do. If you can get it from Morocco, get it from Morocco. But now we're seeing, especially here, it's saying Spain and Italy have accounted for 2/3 of U.S. olive oil imports in 2024. Both are subject to a 15% tariff, of course, which was struck between the EU. We know that from when Donald Trump went to meet with Ursula von der Leyen and made that energy deal. 15% across the board now. I mean, again, 15%, it's going to come out. You're paying that at the end. That's how it works. So if it was $1 before, now you're paying $1.15. If it was $2 before, now you're paying $2.30. I mean, this is how it works. So you're making up that difference across the board. Of course, in the end, the government takes it all. That's the way it works. And sorry for you wine drinkers. Looks like 33% of imports. Oh, geez. Look, coming from Italy and Spain. There you go. 15% on those as well. So keep an eye out on this. I mean, a lot of companies, they anticipated this, so they stockpile a lot of it. So you haven't seen a big shift just yet. But a lot of these items you're getting from Europe, they're going to start to tick up a little bit. So I can only pray that Donald Trump takes these ridiculous tariffs off. I know they want to take in more money, which they are, which is great. I just hope they're paying down the out-of-control U.S. national debt with it. That's the only thing I could really hope for in that regard. The Associated Press has this article, and it foreshadows what I've been telling you about what's happening in the Middle East that seems to be neglected as of right now. By the way, there's supposed to be a ceasefire between Israel and what's happening in Gaza right now, which is not happening. But it says Israel is in talks to possibly resettle Palestinians from Gaza into South Sudan. I mean, I saw this a mile away. No one else is talking about this. Israel's in discussions now with the South Sudanese government about the possibility of resettling Palestinians. That's because, again, Egypt doesn't want to take them. Jordan doesn't want to take them. Not because they hate them, but because they know if they get control of the Gaza Strip, now Israel's going to move on to the next country they want to invade. Netanyahu is playing for more land. That's the whole point of the game here. That's what they do with self-defense at this point. Otherwise, why would you expel almost 2 million Palestinians from where they live and where they have lived for well over 2 millennia, for God's sakes? But the idea, of course, is sending them to war-torn Eastern Africa, again, to a nation of which they're not indigenous. It's a bit stifling, I'd have to say. Part of the wider effort by Israel to facilitate mass immigration from the territory left in ruins, by them, by the way, and its 22-month offensive against Hamas, which, again, has overlapped into them. Hamas is still alive and well. That's another disaster in and of itself. You know, I see pictures constantly. We keep hearing reports about all this. And, you know, I'm looking at a picture right now. These people are living in these makeshift tents just right on the beach. They have nowhere to live. They have no electricity. They have no running water. They have no access to medical supplies, let alone proper surgery. And yet we're told, no, there's no starvation. Everyone's fine. It's just a lie. Just the UN making up lies. No, it's not. No, I'm looking at this picture right there. There's not a fat person in this picture. This region is in ruins. Now you're telling me Hamas is in every single building in the Gaza Strip? In Gaza City? Come on. Give me a break. And again, Hamas is still alive and well, folks. They haven't yet defeated Hamas. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that he wants to realize U.S. President Donald Trump's vision of relocating much of Gaza's population through what Netanyahu refers to as voluntary migration. You know, you have Palestinians that are not going to leave this. So what are you going to do in that case? When they say, hell no, I'm not leaving. We're not going anywhere. This is my land. There's only one other option, folks, and I don't want to really say it over the air. But it would be killing people, folks, is what's happened. We have already 60,000 Palestinians dead. You know, I thought it was interesting, though, that they talked about They don't want any more bloodshed of course, innocent Ukrainians. I agree completely. But why do we always neglect what's happening in Gaza? Why can't we say, this has to end? You have people living in makeshift tents on the beaches, for God's sakes. Half the population is under the age of 17. I never understood that. Donald Trump saying, we could make this a nice, Riviera, this, tourist location. This is people's land. This is their territory. They've been shoved into, by the way. But now we have Israel floating this similar resettlement idea now to other African nations to send these people who are, again, are not from Africa. They're from exactly where they're standing right now. You had Minister Smotrich saying the same thing. God's will become Jewish. They're saying what they want to do right out loud. Everyone's going, nothing's intentional here. They want to help these people out. Yeah. I mean, it's as clear as mud what they want to do. They want that damn land. Netanyahu said on Tuesday last week, he said, I think the right thing to do, even according to the laws of war, as I know them, what the hell does he know, is to allow the population to leave. And then when you go in with all your might against the enemy who remains there. So again, that would be the people that say, I'm not leaving my land. They're going to come in with force and either physically remove them or kill them. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying out loud. This is what's happening right in front of our eyes, folks. And you have nobody, but very few people on any news platform talking about this, like I'm talking about this. And again, it's very sad. It's very upsetting. If I could see the pictures, that means you can see the pictures. This place is in complete ruins. Gaza City is destroyed. It's depleted into nothing. There's an estimated over 60,000 people dead. God knows how many people are under all this rubble that we don't know about, that are missing. They estimate it to be over 400,000 people missing. I think at this point, folks, we can make a good assumption they're not coming back, sadly enough. And the idea that this continues on is ridiculous. And by the way, the IDF has been taking hits as well. I want you to understand this. Many of them are reservists. They come into this region, and now they're resulting in one service member a day committing suicide. War is hell. Nobody should want war. Nobody should want this. What they're seeing is happening to these Palestinian people. When does this end? What is the end result of this? Kick everyone off the land, excavate it, and call it all of Israel now? Kicking people off their homeland, which is, again, their land? I mean, you can go look at ancient pictures of the Middle East. Gaza was there. Palestine was there. Now, the whole region wasn't Palestine, but there was the Gaza Strip area was Palestine. Yep. And now we're saying, we're going to kick you off your land. You can't make this stuff up, folks. You really can't. And I want Donald Trump to broker a peace negotiation in this situation, because this is god-awful. This should not be happening, but it is happening. I don't care who you support. It is wrong to starve people. It is wrong to shut the electricity off on people. Israel controls everything that goes into that damn region. So they know exactly what's in there. They've known about this. They see it. And again, you saw the Al Jazeera journalist killed the other day. And of course, label him as Hamas, so nobody bats an eye about it. There's no evidence linking any of those people to Hamas. But this is the point. There's no journalism in the region to share you these pictures that I'm telling you about, that I'm looking right at right now in the Associated Press. It's not on the news. It's never on the news. You don't see this anywhere. There's no talk about it. It's ridiculousness. Absolute utter ridiculousness. And again, if I don't talk about it, who's going to talk about it? Very few people are talking about this. And my hat off to everyone who does. By the way, speaking of Israeli intelligence, I've got this in the Gateway Pundit. It says here that the United States Department releases statement after Israel's top cybersecurity chief was released following an arrest in Las Vegas for allegedly attempting to lure minors. Yeah, there you go. Tom Alexandrovich, the head of the Technological Defense Division at the Israeli National Cyber Directorate, was arrested in Las Vegas on suspicion of attempting to lure minors for sexual purposes. According to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, Alexandrovich was caught attempting to solicit sex from a minor electronically. So I'm guessing this was done online. He was caught, he was taken into custody, he was booked, and of course later released after a state judge posted a $10,000 bail pending a future court date. So all seems well, right? Oh, okay, well he's coming back for his court date, yeah? Well, not so fast right now. Not so fast. According to the LA Metropolitan Police Department, a multi-agency operation targeting child sex predators led to the arrest of 8 individuals just over the last 2 weeks. And this clown, working for Israel, right under Netanyahu, was one of them. So, what was the end result of Mr. Alexandrovich now? Well, he made bail, right? And now he got on a plane 2 days later after being released, and now he's in Israel now. A non-extradition state. Good job, everybody. Good job, Justice Department, on that one. That's great. Wonderful. How the hell does that happen? You have a guy who's been arrested on charges of pedophilia, and he gets on a plane and just flies away? How the hell is that possible? The State Department, aware that Tom Alexandrovich, an Israeli citizen, was arrested in Las Vegas and was given a court date for charges related to soliciting sex electronically from a minor. He did not claim diplomatic immunity and was released by a state judge pending this court date. Any claims the U.S. government intervened are false. Well, again, the question begs, how the hell is somebody who should be at least looked at, who's released, allowed to flee to a airport and then, of course, evade any type of culpability on this? Because as I said to you before, there is no extradition with the state of Israel. Yeah, so there we go. They're gone, not charged, released. You'll never see him again. Works right under Netanyahu. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This irks me to no end. I can't take it sometimes when I hear about this crap. Speaking of crap, I got this article in the New York Post. This one enraged me reading this yesterday. And I got to share with each and every one of you. We're seeing this more and more now. What I'm about to read to you. It says, daycare worker arrested for child abuse as toddler left with black eye and swollen face on first day at a church-run childcare center. You can't make this stuff up, folks. You can't make it up. A daycare worker in Georgia was arrested for child abuse, authorities have said, and the father of the toddler, under her care, shared heartbreaking pictures of the boy with a black eye and swollen face. I mean, and I'm looking at this. This boy's 1 year old. His right eye is completely black and blue. He's got lacerations on his cheek, under his nose, on his forehead. 1 year old baby. I mean, it's a baby we're talking about here. Yvette Thurston, 54, faces 3 counts of first-degree child abuse and 1 first-degree aggravated battery. I don't know how they're not charging her for assault. I mean, this is insane. She was taken into custody Monday, this would be last Monday, following a report of an alleged abuse at the Little Blessings Childcare in Bainbridge. The father of the child, Corey Weeks, took to Facebook to share these photos of the frightening injuries suffered by his 1-year-old Clay on his first day at a church child care facility. Now, folks, I don't have any worldly advice on this. But the idea that, again, you're leaving your children and you have inhumane pieces of human excrement like this Thurston clown, a black woman, again, I'm just saying you how it is, beating a white boy. Did you hear about this anywhere today in the news media? You didn't hear about it once, did you? If you did, it was probably for just a short moment. Did she get charged with a hate crime? That's, you know, if the races were reversed, it'd be charged that way. Absolutely. And you hear it all over the news, how America's a horrible place. Now, this is what America is, just a racist white country. Yep, that's all you'd hear about. This woman posted bail, I believe for $40,000, I believe is what it was. Yeah, post bail right away. Gets out of it. 1-year-old kid. To hit a baby like that, it's completely inhumane. This is somebody who's supposed to care for children, and you're attacking them? It's beyond me. Folks, you need to know who your kids are with. That's the only thing I can tell you in this situation. You need to know, if you're going to drop your kids off at a daycare, you need to know who's working there. Every single person working there. And really, before you bring your kids to a new school of any kind, you should go and see how that school operates. You should walk around it, see how the teachers are interacting with the students. Everybody. From the janitor all the way to the principal's office, you should know every single damn person in that school nowadays. Otherwise, you have situations like this, where you have a 1-year-old beaten for God knows what reason you could make up for this. There is no reason. There is no reason. Yep, no word about it in the news media. No outrage. We saw this with the Cincinnati. And again, that made the news, obviously, after a little while. But again, it was the white people's fault. There was no hate crime. They deserved it, remember? That's what the city council, Victoria Sparks, I don't give a damn what her name is, came out and said, hey, they deserved it. They deserve to get their asses kicked in the middle of the street. Obviously, that woman was just at the jazz festival. It's okay if a man punched her right in the face. It's okay if she hit her head on the pavement. Doesn't matter. They deserved it. All 4 of them. They deserved it. We see the same thing with the Austin Metcalf situation. White kid stabbed in the heart by a black kid. And you actually have a GoFundMe in place. And now the kid's living in a nice little mansion right now, as far as I could tell. Out on bail. Stabbed a kid in the heart for no reason. They got an altercation. Nobody asked the question, why? First of all, you're not even in the event. Why are you in this team's space? You're asked to leave, and then you say, make me, and then you stab the kid in the heart. So why do you have a knife at a sporting event, a high school sporting event? Have you heard anything about that case? No, you don't hear anything about it. There's no outcry. And look, either way, if the races are reversed, it's wrong. This is my point. It's wrong either way. But why don't you hear about it when it's a 1-year-old white kid getting punched in the face by a black woman? If it was a white woman hitting a black baby, it'd be outraged equally. But why the hell aren't we talking about this? Why is this deemed to be okay? That's my question to you. Why is this okay? I don't understand this. And again, why are people condoning this type of behavior? You saw it, again, in Cincinnati. You saw it with the Austin Metcalf situation, where he was stabbed in the heart and killed. You're not even hearing about this case. It's not relevant. Only when it's the other way around does the news media pretend like they give a damn. What's wrong is wrong, folks. What's wrong is wrong. And this is absolutely wrong. It's unbelievable. It really, really is. Now, speaking of other things that are unbelievable to me, another situation in the New York Post. It says here that there's shocking footage showing an illegal migrant driver makes a outrageous rogue U-turn and killing 3 in the process. I'm sure many of you have heard about this as of right now. There was a terrifying video showing on the Florida turnpike, this illegal alien, Harjinder Singh, made a hard left across the highway, an attempt to make a U-turn at the cross median that you're not supposed to have access to, through an official-only pass, and a minivan slams into the back of the trailer, killing 2 people instantly, and of course the third person driving the vehicle died later on. This person's not even supposed to be in the country. And yet somehow they have a commercial driver's license. Now, how could that be, ladies and gentlemen? How could somebody who's here illegally have access to drive with a commercial driver's license? Well, let's not look any further than the great Gavin Newsom in the moronic state of California, who issued this illegal alien a driver's license after he came out of the country illegally in 2018, crossing through the California border. Oh, yeah. Give him a driver's license. Hey, he's on his way. I told you this many times. Once you're in the country illegally, you can go anywhere. It's not just California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas that are border states. Every state becomes a border state. Because once you get in the country and you're given some type of ID, illegally, by the way, this is why I laugh with this real ID nonsense. You have the state of California, under Kamala Harris, by the way, when she was Attorney General, they passed this ridiculous bill that allowed illegals to apply for driver's license. They gave out 1 million illegal driver's license. And now I've got to show that I'm really Marco Gervais. Yet somehow an illegal alien has access to operating a vehicle illegally. It's illegal what he's doing. He shouldn't be able to drive a vehicle. He shouldn't even be in the country. And now as a result of this, we have 3 people dead. Thanks to California. This is what I tell you all the time. You have a state like California or New York City, or, we can go through the other states that do this too, but particularly in California, where it's specifically insane, allowing people to have driver's license. Now he takes that California driver's license, he goes to a state like Florida, and now this happens. 3 American citizens dead. Now Singh has been charged with 3 counts of vehicular manslaughter. Will likely serve a sentence in Florida and then be deported. Wonderful. From India. That's what it says here. Yep, there it is. There it is. And again, where's the outrage? Does anybody care? Gavin Newsom has blood on his hands. Kamala Harris. She's an attorney general. She allows this nonsense to happen. No, it's okay. Hey, nobody's illegal, right? I saw that in a car the other day here. Southern California. Nobody's illegal. Everyone should be here. And you get to live with the consequences. For people like this who, the guy made a complete illegal U-turn. He was in the right-hand lane. He cuts across the entire 3-lane highway. And this car smashes into it. When are people going to wake up? That's what I want to know. When are people going to have enough of this crap? When are people going to say enough is enough? I had enough of Gavin Newsom, who again is desperately trying to run for president. This is not going to leave him now. Now, he was lieutenant governor at the time. I'm sure he championed it along with Jerry Brown, signing it into law. Gavin Newsom supports us. Remember, these are his people. He's said this. Illegal aliens are his people. So don't expect any type of repercussion coming out of California and stopping that. So on top of, anti-parental rights, anti-gun laws, of course, many of the such, the stranglehold on businesses, and of course, one of the most draconian states during COVID, Gavin Newsom loves taking power. That's what he loves. He lives for taking power from people. And he loves giving power to people that don't deserve power. Allocating $250 million for illegal aliens to access health care. Is he paying for my health care? No, of course not. Not the citizen. The citizen can go to hell. Gavin Newsom doesn't need you. The citizen can go to hell. The illegal alien. That's his people, folks. Even though he doesn't spend any time with them in his Napa winery. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. They use these people. They use them. That's all. That's all. Then again, you're seeing this push, particularly by the DOJ, to get as many of these people out as you can. And as I told you before, not quick enough. Not quick enough. Does that mean everyone's a bad person that's here legally? Of course it doesn't mean that. But you have to have people here legally, is the point. And that's all I've got to say on that one. But before I go on to another article, I have to tell you, California. Gavin, I'm going to harp on Gavin Newsom day in and day out for, I don't know, as long as I can. As long as his stupid face is on my television screen, I'm not going to let this moron have 1 minute's breath of calmness. I'm going to shout it from the rooftops. That's what I'm going to do here. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Every time I see his face, I get violently angry. I do. I can't take it anymore. One blunder after another. And he has the nerve to talk about redistricting in California. To give even more representation to the Democratic Party. While he controls the electronic voting machines in the state. Don't you know? That's how you know at 801 who won the presidency. And of course the senatorial race. It's all about power. It's all about power with Gavin Newsom. California's unemployment rate is the highest in the United States. What a shock. California topped the nation for the highest unemployment rate for the second month in a row now, recording a rate of 5.5% in the failed state of California now. California, beautiful state, by the way, has so much promise. It's such a draw. It's beautiful in California. It's just poorly run. Because you have schmucks like Gavin Newsom, low IQ dunces like him, like the Karen Basses of the world and all that nonsense, the Eric Garcettis. They don't give a damn. I think they don't know how to do anything. They've never done anything their entire life. But they know how to run their mouths and accumulate power. So this is up 0.1% from last month's data, which reportedly showed that California was tied for the highest unemployment rate in June of 2025. What an honor for Gavin Newsom, by the way. Maybe he can do that when he runs in 2028. I brought my state's unemployment rate down 25%. Really? You were the highest in the nation, Gavin. What'd you do there? Dubious honors. What does he have to run for? What does he have to show for anything? They're talking about now in Newsweek that he's closing the gap between AOC. There's another abysmal disaster right there. Another low IQ, never done anything in their entire life. Has never done one damn thing anybody could point to that's successful, except for running for power and maintaining it in a ultra blue district, in a blue cesspool like New York City. Same thing with Gavin Newsom. Except I don't believe that California is as blue as they tell us. But that's another story for another day. Look at that, yeah. So never forget that when he runs, you gotta say, hey, highest unemployment in the nation versus Texas that has the lowest unemployment rate in the nation. Texas is becoming the new California in terms of the economy, folks, by the way. You're seeing a big shift. But again, a lot of the talent, a lot of the companies, they're going to Texas. Primarily. They're going to Florida. They can't take it anymore. They can't take the laws, the taxation. They can't stand the crime in the streets, the decadence in the streets. You pay the highest taxes almost in the nation. And you get nothing for it. Except more misery. Now, I've been talking about this for a while now, and it's finally coming to fruition. I'm so happy about this, too. Again, I have so many good articles today that just made me so happy. I love it. Zero Hedge has this article says that Trump vows movement to eliminate mail-in ballots before the 2026 midterms. Bravo, Donald. Bravo. Exactly. Get rid of it. You cannot send a ballot all over the place and then go give your ballot back to the precinct in your democratically run area and expect it just to go in the trash. I'm just going to say that to you. He went on Truth Social saying that elections can never be honest with mail-in ballots and voting. And add in ballot harvesting, by the way, too, which is legal in California, of course. And everybody, in particular, the Democrats know this. I and the Republican Party will fight like hell to bring honesty and integrity back to our elections. The one thing he needs to do is to forensically audit every single voting machine in the state of California in 2024, in Oregon, in Washington, in New York, in Illinois, and all the other states where they don't have to show any photo ID to vote. They never clear out their voter rolls, ever, in California. And actually go through and see if anyone has tampered with this technology, which we know can happen, by the way. That's what Donald Trump should do. If he wants to get behind this, and he wants to end the electronic voting machines, which he ought to, this would be a perfect way to prove, again, what is going on, especially in some of these states that have blue control. Now, yes, there are a lot of Democrats in California. It's a big state. I understand that. But it isn't as blue as you think, folks. Now, Donald Trump was asked about this during his time with Zelensky, and this is what was asked.
Pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that and how important
Well, that's a very off-topic, just really quickly. Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And do you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them because of what's happened. Massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results. The machines, I mean, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night.
So he's absolutely right. And I'll go a step further. With the paper ballots, wherever you're assigned to go and vote, everyone should have a precinct they're assigned to. You get a copy, right? You got a hard copy that you take back with you that shows exactly whom and what you voted for. And then you should be able to go, if you're voter number 55 at your local precinct, you should be able to go online, go into your county, go in there, okay, go to your city, find it, go to precinct 20, wherever the hell you vote, doesn't matter. Click on it and say, okay, I was voter 55. How did my vote tally into what was going on here? How did voter 55 vote? And boom, boom, you can go across and check your work and see exactly how you voted and how it was tallied. Oh, look, I was the 8th person that voted for Donald Trump. Okay, good. Now we're on to something. If everyone go in and do that and check, and they have a copy, they hold on to that copy, that would eliminate a lot of this voter fraud that you see happening. And again, you need to have an ID to vote. I think that would be a step in the right direction, too. They need to make sure you show an ID to vote. You don't have to do that in California. It's ridiculous. It's ripe for fraud. Good on Donald. I mean, another plus. Beautiful day today. I love it so much. Something else that's really positive, speaking about voting, the Wall Street Journal has this article saying Bolivians vote out socialists after 2 decades in power. Fantastic. I mean, maybe people are waking up that leftism, the communist ideas are simply not working. They're not making your life any better. Maybe living in it for 20 years, you can realize, hey, maybe you need to go the other way. I think that's the proper way to go. So in the first round of voting, Rodrigo Paz, the centrist senator and son of former president, surprised pollsters by taking the most votes on Sunday with 32% support. In the runoff in October, he will face a conservative former president, Jorge Caraga, who received 27%. So it looks like the Bolivians have had enough of this crap. They've rejected the movement towards Socialism Party, which has ruled every single year except for one since 2006. Yeah, I think they've had enough of this. And if there's hope in Bolivia, folks, I think there's hope in the United States as well. So good on the Bolivians for voting out that mess in their country. Good on that. By the way, one other positive, this is in the Hill. It's the last thing I'll talk about today. Attorney General Pam Bondi said on Sunday that the authorities arrested 68 people overnight in Washington, D.C. amid a federal crackdown on crime in which President Trump has sent the National Guard to the nation's capital and federalized the police force. Over 300 arrests in D.C. and counting. But think about that. You have a city that of about roughly 700,000 people. They probably get more traffic, obviously, during the weekday, people coming into work and whatnot. But you have over 300 people arrested in D.C. since this enforcement of putting in the National Guard. Just last night, our federal and D.C. law enforcement partners made 68 arrests and seized 15 illegal firearms. Bondi said in a post on the platform X. I mean, again, fantastic. Fantastic. You love seeing it, don't you, folks? I mean, again, this is the step in the right direction. This is how we start to make changes. And again, this is something that is absolutely necessary to do because you have a police department that is simply not doing it. So, I'm glad to see that the crime in our nation's capital is ending. That's the way it should be. I'm happy to see this. I don't want this happening in other cities, of course, but it seems like in our nation's capital, this is absolutely necessary. So, very happy to see this. And I'm glad to see that we're cleaning things up. We should not be the most crime-ridden capital in the world. Not the United States, folks. Folks, thanks for being here with me. I appreciate you so much. Make sure you share the show with others, and I will catch you the next time on the next Marco Dre Show. Until then, be good, stay great, be productive. God bless.